Lord, listen to my groaning. Lord, listen to my plea. Lord, allow your presence to be a remedy for me. That is truly, in a very real way, what the readings are about this day. Not too long ago, I was traveling on a road. It was actually the road that linked between where I was living at the time, the parish that I was in, and Catholic TV. It's a well-used road. You really don't want to be on it during rush hour, but it wasn't rush hour. So I had 20 to 25 minutes to leave my rectory and get to Catholic TV to come to work. I got onto this stretch of roadway thinking I would be able to zip quite easily to where I needed to be. But I wasn't able to zip that quickly. The traffic was slowed down. It was only 12:15 in the afternoon. There was really no reason for the slowdown, so I was rather confused. However, indeed, on one side of me, the traffic seemed to be flowing okay, but the lane that I was in was very slow. So slow that if I remember correctly, we weren't going any faster than 20 miles an hour, and the speed limit on this stretch was 45. So I was curious. I was trying to look down the road, and I could see that indeed cars were passing something. Didn't seem to be an accident. It didn't seem to be a truck. There was no road work going on, so I was rather confused. But indeed, as people were passing, I got closer and closer and closer, until finally I could see what was happening. There was an elderly gentleman of advanced years with both hands on the steering wheel. His head barely got over the steering wheel, so I could appreciate that. And he was driving very slowly. He obviously was very nervous because this can be a very dangerous stretch of roadway. I was touched by the fact that no one was honking at him. No one was taking advantage of him. No one was seeking to embarrass him. No one wanted to hurt his feelings. They could see that he was a gentleman probably struggling, and they very simply went around him. My friends, in a very real way, that's the call to Christianity that you and I are offered this day. That first reading, that often told story of Jezebel, a woman who knew what she wanted and how to get it and didn't care who she hurt to get what she wanted. She went out of her way to plot and plan because she wanted a piece of property. She wanted a piece of land. She was a bit angry that the one from whom her husband wanted to take the land was saying, no, this is part of my heritage. This is part of my family. This is part of who I am. I need to hold on to this. I think the Lord would want me to hold on to this. She empowered her selfishness. She empowered her control. She empowered her anger at the moment, not caring who she might hurt in the process. The gospel. Jesus addresses a very real situation, and he reminds us that it is through his presence that you and I are invited to step into the light. It's through his presence that you and I are invited to step into his mercy before we make any decision. Jezebel didn't use the power of God in her life before she made a decision. The people on the roadway with the elderly gentleman did. I was very touched by that moment because in a very real way, I could see God's mercy at work. I could see, and I very clearly remember feeling his presence at that moment, driving in my car, as I could see people caring about the feelings of another. As a nation this day, we mourn the death of 50 people killed in such a brutal and untimely way. And we unite our prayer for them, for their families, many people still waiting to hear. And we are reminded that when we allow the Lord to work in us, when we allow Him to work through us, we can be of great assistance for those in need. Today, there is great power in what you and I are doing at this moment. There is great power in His Word, in the Word made flesh. That's what made St. Anthony great. He knew the power of God was a remedy for sadness, for heartbreak. Today, we ask the Lord to be present to those in need as we, in merciful ways, lift them up through the power of His presence, the power of prayer.